Hey friends, Lulu here. I have a thrift store frame that I just fell in love with. I got it for $1, and we're going to do something fun with it today using some Dollar Tree paintbrushes. So first I'm going to use some moss green, and I'm going to add a little bit of Plaster by Waverly to it because I want to whitewash or greenwash this frame. I put some painter's tape along the inside to protect the surface, and what I'm doing is I want to turn it into a little bit of a lighter green, a sage green. And so if you just add a little bit of plaster or off-white paint to moss green, you'll get a beautiful sage green. And so the frame right now is a real rough wood, and the wood is a kind of a barnyard reddish brown color. So I want to have some of that show from the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and wet the board first. Whenever you're using a really rough surface, you want to wet the board. That helps you apply the paint easier. So I'm just going to spray the board and get it wet, and then start painting it the green, and then I'm going to take a wet paper towel and I'm going to wash it down a little bit. So once we get all that done, it'll be ready for us. We just need to make sure we dry it. So rub it. See how I have that background rusty color looking through it? It's just perfect. So that's a different way of getting that rustic look. So it's a little simpler than using the wax and doing all the layers and scratching it down. So the painter's tape is to protect the surface. Now the surface was perfect. I didn't need to do anything to it. But you do what you want to do when you have a frame or whatever you're using. I like getting thrift store frames. So that frame is all ready. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking 3 paintbrushes, and 2 of them I have all ready for this project. And I'm going to show you how I remove the bristles from the one brush that I left. So I'm using 3, and these are Dollar Tree. I wish I had 3 old paintbrushes. So save your paintbrushes because this is a fun project. So I'm just heating up the metal, and so once you heat the metal up, it loosens the glue from the paintbrush, the bristles, and then you're just able to get some pliers or whatever, wire cutters, and start pulling the bristles out. And then once you get the bristles out, you can then put some floral foam. If you don't want to use floral foam, you can just hot glue them in there and hide the inside. So many things you can do with this. So see how I'm just heating it up? Now I made the mistake on the other 2 when I prepared the project, and I was trying to use a tool and cutting the bristles, and I thought, why am I doing that? I bet these are glued inside. So once I figured out an easier way to do it, see how these just, you just heat it up enough and just start twisting and pulling until they're all out. See that? Now I threw them away, but then I pulled out the bristles later because I had suggestions that I should save those and use them in another project. And as crafters, we save everything. So I'm going to go ahead and save those bristles in a baggie, and they would be cute for whiskers. I'm sure there's a lot of things that we can use them for, but the first thing that comes to mind is whiskers, like for bunnies or cats or whatever, or some hair at the top of a chicken or something. Just save them. There we go. Just see how easy those are coming out. Just twisting those and getting them out. Now I'm speeding through this video where I need to, just for viewing purposes. There we go. Got them all done, and everything is out of there. And now we just need to put the floral foam in. And I decided I wanted to use my stain, and just give the handles a little bit of distressing, because I just didn't want, I had sanded them down prior, so I got all the glaze off of them. And so now I'm just rubbing that on. And after I'm all done, you're going to see that I actually ended up putting some of that moss paint on them and rub them down also, just to give it a little more color. So can you guess what we're doing with these paint brushes? Have you figured it out yet? So here we go. So there's the floral foam, and that just needs to go into the top. And you just need some, it doesn't take very much. So again, use whatever you would want to use, but since I have all of this floral foam, and I don't do florals very often, I just went ahead and just took some slivers of it and pushed it down inside. And then it's ready. So floral foam, now you've guessed it, we're going to put flowers in there. Now my thought process on the whole thing was, hey, let's do the colors like a brush stroke. So we're going to do the flowers, and they're all going to be one color, and like we're doing a brush stroke of florals down the surface. That didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it, but in the future, I might try this again, because this is the first time I'm trying this. I had seen somebody do this a few years ago, and I kept it in the back of my mind for a future project, and so today's the day I decided to do it. So this is how it's going to go. The brushes are going to go on the top here. We're going to glue them in. This is just so simple. So many things you can do. To the surface. You can put words down on it. But this surface, like I said, it was perfect. I got this at a thrift store. Always go to your thrift store, Goodwills, or garage sales, and look for things like this, because you could paint it up, freshen it up. There's just so much you can do. And for $1, you can't get something this quality. And this did look like shiplap, like a really good board. And if the back side of it, you can see it's not just something that you would have gotten at a Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree or something like that. And so it was just a little sticky. It must have had something on it. So all I had to do was clean it with rubbing alcohol. And I'm just giving it this whole new look. See how it's just got the really nice shiplap, the lines, crazy perfect. And people just, people look at it and they see it a little dirty or whatever and walk away from it. But I always take advantage of those things. So I'm just looking at how I want to lay these. How I want to stagger them. Again, everybody has their own technique. You could take the same project and you could make it your own. It would come out totally different. But for me, I'm putting a little little rub and buff, some copper rub and buff, just to take some of the shine off of the metal that's on the paintbrushes. That's the word I'm trying to come up with, paintbrushes. Because I want them to look a little older. I didn't want them to look all shiny. I want them to look like used paintbrushes. That's why don't throw your paintbrushes away. Save them. I have a couple that I like, but I wanted 3 the same size, so I just picked these up at the Dollar Tree. Very easy, very nice. So just a little bit of rub and buff. And after I'm all done, I put a little bit of the ebony rub and buff on there too, just to give it a little more character and age. You could do cinnamon, make them rusty looking. You could do that, but I didn't want that for this project. So if you're not used to using rub and buff, it's a great thing to have on hand. Just changes everything up. Just changes it all up. So once I have that on there and I decide on which way I'm going to line these up, I'm putting down some glue. Now I'm using hot glue and a permanent glue. And the reason is when I'm doing projects, if I think I might gift them or sell them, I don't want to just use hot glue, because hot glue doesn't last forever, especially if somebody is, putting them in the elements and outside and they're exposed to a lot of heat. So I use both. The hot glue just to get it an instant fix, and then the permanent glue. You could use wood glue, any kind of permanent glue to keep it down. So I decided to stagger these in this way, and I don't mind that the florals are going to go off the top of the frame. It's not supposed to be contained. And again, this is just my thought process. This is how I see it. Everybody has a different way they want to do something. So I encourage you, if you decide you want to do this, post a picture in the comments and show me what you did, because I would love to see, different ideas that you come up with, different techniques. Again, you could put words if you have a Cricut or a stencils. You can put some words down in between them or on the frame even, you know. There's so many possibilities. I'm not a bow girl, so this isn't going to get a bow. So now I just picked the flowers that I wanted, and I tried to stay with one color combination for each brush. But I did do oranges and yellows on the outside. Now you don't have to permanently put those florals in there, so you can change them up with the seasons if you want. So you can do fall colors in the fall, and spring, summer colors. You can do it red, white, and blue, patriotic. Yeah, again, endless possibilities of what you can do with this. So I have the orange and yellow on one, blue on one, and then pinks on the other. And then I will be adding some greeneries to these just to fill it up a little bit. I don't do a lot of florals, so I didn't have a lot on hand, and I just decided, last minute to do this project, so I had to use what I had. But if I were planning this out really well, I would have had more solid colors of the same flower just to make it look more like a paintbrush painting. Do you get what I'm saying? You're painting streaks and the flowers are the paint colors, but I use what I have. So we just got a little bit so there's orange and yellow, blue and pink, and then with the greeneries. It's just so cute. It really didn't take a lot of effort. This actually took me about an hour to do, and I shortened it down to 14-15 minutes just for you, because you really don't need to see all the steps, right? You got it. It's very simple. And so now the next thing I'm going to do is I have a lot of different blings, I call it bling, but any accessories. So I have a butterfly that I'm putting on one, and it's a wood butterfly that's a little enameled, not a little shiny. It's got a glaze of some kind over it. But I put that on the one, and then once I picked that, I decided, let's go crazy. So get out your stash. So I pulled out my stash of things, little accessories, I guess is what you call them. And I had butterflies, I had bees, and I had ladybugs. And so I just decided how I would put those on the metal part of the brush and the florals. So I did just a little bit of here and there, and I did put ladybugs on each of the color. I put one ladybug on each of the colors of the floral. So three total on the florals, one on each brush. And then I put some little metallic bumblebees that I had. And those bumblebees, they were more for like jewelry. They're very teeny. But so I cut the ends off the little loop that are on there just to make them look like they had antennas. So it's just really, really, really cute. So once you get all this, now I did use hot glue for those because actually I did a little bit of both because I wanted them to stick down. So I did the hot glue for the florals and then the permanent glue on the brushes. So that's basically it. You, like I said, you could put words down there. You could have a bigger frame and put a phrase down there. I did see how the handles are brown. At the end, I did go ahead and put the green on them. And I'm sanding the edges, and then I'm going to take some more of that stain, and there you go. We are done. Isn't that beautiful? I put see the handles are green, put stain around the edges that I sanded. Hope you like what you saw. Give me a follow, come back for more. Lulu Crafting with a Purpose.